I am Shweta. I taken the topic of Ecos and TinyOS. The first is Ecos Embedded Configurable OS. An embedded OS that is flexible enough to be used in a wide variety of embedded applications and on a wide variety of embedded platforms that must thus provide more functionality than will be needed for any particular application and platform. The challenge is to provide an efficient, user-friendly mechanism for configuring selected components and for enabling and disabling particular features within components. The Ecos configuration tool, which runs on Windows or Linux, is used to configure an Ecos package to run on a target embedded system. At a top level, Ecos consists of number of components, and a configuration user may select only those components needed for a target application. The configuration tool would include the minimum necessary software for that support. The configuration user can also select specific parameter such as default data rate and size of IO buffer to be used. Ecos configuration tools. This figure shows the top level of Ecos configuration tool as seen by the tool user. Each of the items on the list in the left hand window can be selected or deselected. Ecos configuration tool kernel details. These items on the list can be expanded to provide a fine-grained menu of options. This figure illustrates an expansion of the Ecos kernel option. In this figure, note that exception handling has been selected for inclusion, but SMP has been omitted. Next is loading a Ecos configuration. This figure shows a typical example of oral process of creating the binary image to execute in the embedded system. This process is run on the source system such as Windows or Linux platform, and executable image is designed to execute on the target embedded system such as a sensor in the industrial environment. This code is independent of Ecos but make use of application programming interfaces to sit on the top of Ecos software. In this example, the GNU make utility is used to selectively determine which piece of program need to be compiled or recompiled, and issues the commands to recompile them. The GNU linker links the application object code with the code generated by the Ecos configuration tool. The result can be loaded into the target system. Next is Ecos layered architecture. Ecos consists of layered set of components, that is user application code, standard library, IO system, kernel, and a hardware abstraction layer, that is HAL. At the bottom in the hardware abstraction layer, HL is software that consists of API to the upper layer and maps upper layer operation onto a specific hardware platform. This is a code of ARM architecture and PowerPC architecture. HL modules, which includes architecture, variant, and platform. Architecture defines the processor family type. This module contains the code necessary for processor startup, interrupt delivery, context switching, and other functionality specific to the instruction set architecture for that processor family. Variant supports the features of specific processor in a family. An example of supported feature is an on-clip module such as memory management unit, that is MMU, and platform extends the HL support to tightly coupled peripherals like interrupt controllers and timer devices. It includes code for startup, chip selection, configuration, interrupt controllers, and timer devices. Ecos kernel design. The Ecos kernel was designed to satisfy four main objectives, that is low interrupt latency, low task switching latency, small memory footprint, deterministic behavior. Coming to low interrupt latency, the time it takes to respond to an interrupt and begin executing an ISR. Low task switching latency, the time it takes from when the thread becomes available to when actual execution begins. Small memory footprint. Memory resources for both program and data are kept to a minimum by allowing all components to configure memory as needed. Deterministic behavior. Throughout all aspects of execution, the kernel's performance must be predictable, and bounded to meet real-time application requirements. The ECOS kernel provides the core functionality needed for developing multi-threaded application. That is, the ability to create new threads in a system either during the startup or when the system is already running. Control over the various threads in the system, for example, manipulating the priorities. A choice of schedulers determining which thread should currently be running. A range of synchronization primitives allowing threads to interact and share data safely. Integration with the system support for interrupts and exceptions. Some not in ECOS kernel. Some functionality that is typically included in the kernel of OS and not included in the ECOS kernel. For example, memory allocation is handled by a separate package. Similarly, each device driver is a separate package. Various packages are combined and configured using the ECOS configuration technology to meet the requirements of the application. This makes for a lean kernel. Further, minimal nature of kernel means that for some embedded platforms, the ECOS kernel is not used at all. Next is ECOS IO system. The ECOS IO system is a framework for supporting device drivers. A variety of drivers for a variety of platforms are provided in the ECOS configuration package. This includes drivers for serial devices, Ethernet, flash memory interfaces, and various IO interacts such as PCI and USB. In addition, users can develop their own device drivers. The principal objective for the IO system is efficiency with no unnecessary software layering or extraneous functionality. Device drivers provide the necessary function for input, output, buffering, and device control. The kernel provides three-level interrupt model, that is interrupt service routines, deferred service routines, and threads. Standard C libraries. Interrupt service routines invoked in response to a hardware interrupt. Hardware interrupts are delivered with minimal intervention to an ISR. The HL decodes the hardware source of interrupt and calls the ISR of attached interrupt object. Deferred service routines invoked in response to a request by an ISR. Most of the time the DSR will run immediately after the ISR, but if current thread is in scheduler, it will be delayed until the thread is finished. DSR is followed to make larger set of driver API calls, including particular being able to call CYG, DRV, condition signal to wake up waiting threads. Next is thread. The clients of drivers thread are able to make all API calls and in particular are followed to wait on mutexes and condition variables. Next is ECOS scheduler. It consists of two schedulers, bitmap scheduler and multi-level queue scheduler. Bitmap scheduler efficient for small number of threads active. Each thread has different priority. Multi-level queue scheduler appropriate when number of threads is dynamic. Multi-thread such each priority time slicing. Coming to this bitmap scheduler. Bitmap scheduler supports multiple priority levels, but only one thread can exist at each priority level at given time. Scheduling decisions are quite simple with this scheduler. When a block thread becomes ready to run, it may preempt a thread of lower priority. When a running thread suspends the ready thread with the highest priority is dispatched. A thread can be suspended because it is blocked on a synchronization primitive, because it is interrupted, or because it relinquishes control. A bitmap scheduler is configured with 8, 16 or 32 priority levels. A simple bitmap is kept of threads that are ready to execute. Next is multi-level queue scheduler priorities. The multi-level queue scheduler supports up to 32 priority levels. The multi-level queue scheduler allows for multiple active threads at each priority level, limited only by system resources. This figure shows the nature of multi-level queue scheduler. A data structure represents the number of ready thread at each priority level. When a block thread becomes ready to run, it may preempt a thread of lower priority, as with a bitmap scheduler. A running thread may be blocked on a synchronization primitive because it is interrupted or because it relinquishes control. When a thread is blocked, the scheduler must first determine if one or more threads at the same priority level as a blocked thread is ready. If so, the scheduler chooses one of the front of the queue. Otherwise, the scheduler looks for the next highest priority level with one or more ready threads and dispatches one of these threads. Thus, if a thread is running or there is one or more ready threads at the same priority level, the scheduler will suspend the running thread after one time slice and chooses the next thread in the queue at that priority level. This is round robin policy within one priority level. Next is echoes thread synchronization, which includes classical mechanism, synchronization, a communication mechanism, SMP supports. Classic mechanism includes mutex, semaphores, and condition variables. The echoes kernel can be configured to include one or more 6 different thread synchronization. Finally, echoes kernel supports pin locks, which are useful in SMP. Mutexes. The mutex is used to enforce mutually exclusive access to a resource, allowing only one thread at a time to gain access. The mutex has only two states, locked and unlocked. This is similar to a binary semaphore. When a mutex is locked by one thread, any other thread attempting to lock the mutex is blocked. When a mutex is unlocked, then one of the threads blocked on this mutex is unblocked and allowed to lock the mutex and gain access to the resource. The mutex differ from a binary semaphore in two respects. First, the thread that locks the mutex must be in the one to lock it. In contrast, it is possible for one thread to lock a binary semaphore and for another to unlock it. The other difference is that mutex provides protection against priority inversion, whereas the semaphore doesn't. Semaphore. The echoes kernel provides support for counting semaphore. The CYG semaphore post command increments the semaphore count. The CYG semaphore wait function checks the value of semaphore count. If the count is 0, the thread calling this function will wait for the semaphore. Next, coming to condition variable. Condition variable is used to block a thread until a particular condition is true. Condition variables are used with mutexes to allow multiple threads to access shared data. This is a code controlling access to the pool of resources using mutexes. This accomplishes this with the use of condition variables associated with the mutex. When RES allocate detects where there is no resource, it calls CYG condition wait. This latter function unlocks the mutex and put the calling thread to sleep on the condition variable. When RES free is eventually called, it puts a resource back into the pool and calls CYG condition signal to wake up any thread waiting on the condition variable. When a waiting thread eventually gets into run again, it will relock the mutex before returning from CYG condition wait. Next topic is TinyOS. TinyOS represents a significant departure from other embedded operating systems. One striking difference is that TinyOS is not a real-time OS. In TinyOS, there is no kernel as there is no memory protection and it is component-based OS. There are no processes. That OS itself does not have a memory allocation system. And interrupt and exception handling is independent on the peripheral and it is completely non-blocking. So there are few explicit synchronization primitive. Next is wireless sensor network topology. This figure shows a typical configuration. A base station connects a sensor network to a host PC and passes on sensor data from the network to the host PC, which can do data analysis and or transmit the data over corporate network or internet to an analysis server. Individual sensors collect data and transmit this to a base station either directly or through sensors that acts as a data relays. Routing functionality is needed to determine how to relay the data through the sensor network to the base station. Next is TinyOS goals. With the Tiny distributed sensor application in mind, the following goals were set for TinyOS goals, which includes allow high frequency, operate with limited resources, adapt to hardware evaluation, support a wide range of application, support a diverse set of platform, and be robust. Coming to allow high frequency, in a typical wireless sensor network application, the devices are concurrency intensive. Several different flows of data must be kept moving simultaneously. While sensor data is kept input in a steady stream, process results must be transmitted in a steady stream. Also, external controls from remote sensors or base station must be managed. Coming to this, operate with limited resources. Target platforms has limited memory and computational resources and runs on batteries and solar power. A single platform may offer only kilobytes of program memory or hundreds of bytes of RAM. The software must make efficient use of available processor and memory resource while enabling low power communication. Adapt to hardware evaluation. Hardware is in constant evaluation. Application and most system services must be portable across hardware generation. It should be possible to upgrade the hardware with little or no software change if the functionality is the same. Support a wide range of application. Application exhibit a wide range of requirement in terms of lifetime, communication, sensing, and soon a modular general purpose embedded OS is designed so that the standardized approach leads to economies of scale in developing applications and support software. Support a diverse set of platforms. A general purpose embedded OS is desirable. Be robust. Once deployed, a sensor network must run unattended for months or years. Ideally, there should be redundancy both within a single system or across the network of sensors. However, both types of redundancy require additional resource. One software characteristic that can improve robustness is to use highly modular standardized software component. Next is TinyOS component. Embedded software system built in TinyOS consists of a set of modules called components, such as single hop networking, ad hoc routing, power management, times non-volatile storage control. An embedded software system built using TinyOS consists of set of small modules called components, each of which performs a simple task or set of tasks which interface with each other and with hardware in limited and well-defined ways. Time component. All components in a TinyOS or configuration have the same structure, an example of which is shown above. The shaded box in the diagram indicates the component which is treated as an object that can only be accessed by defined interfaces indicated by the white boxes. Component may be hardware or software. Timer configuration. Components are organized into a configuration by writing together, and this interfaces and equating the interfaces of communication. A simple example is shown here. TinyOS scheduler operates across all components. Only one task executes at one time. Simple FIFO queue. Scheduler is power aware. TinyOS scheduler. The TinyOS scheduler operates across all components. Virtually all embedded systems using TinyOS will be uniprocessor system, so that only one task among all the tasks in all the components may execute at a time. A scheduler is a separate component. It is one portion of TinyOS that must be present in any system. The default scheduler in the TinyOS is a simple FIFO queue. A task is ported to a scheduler placed in the queue either as a result of event which triggers the posting or a result of specific request by running task to schedule another task. The scheduler is power aware. This means that the scheduler puts the processor to sleep when there is no task in the queue. The peripherals remain operating so that one of them can wake up the system by means of hardware, even signaled to a lower level component. Once the queue is empty, another task can be scheduled only as a result of direct hardware event. This behavior enables sufficient battery usage. Search an example of TinyOS application. This figure shows a configuration assembled from software and hardware component. This simplified example called search performs periodic sensor sampling and uses ad hoc multi-hops routing over the wireless network to deliver samples to the basic station. This configuration for search. This figure shows a portion of configuration for the search application. Next is TinyOS the resource interface. It provides TinyOS provides a simple but powerful set of convention for dealing with resource. Dedicated, virtualized and shared. Dedicated as resource that a subsystem needs exclusive access to all times. In this class of resource, no sharing policy is needed since only a single component ever requires use of resource. Example of dedicated abstraction include interrupts and counters. Virtualized. Every client of virtualized resource interacts with it as if it were a dedicated resource, with all virtualized instances being multiplexed on the top of single underlying resource. The virtualized abstraction may be used when the underlying resource need not be protected by mutual exclusion. An example is a clock or timer. Next is shared. The shared resource abstraction provides access to a dedicated resource through an arbiter component. The arbiter enforces mutual exclusion, allowing only one user at a time to have access to a resource and enabling the client to lock the resource. Next is shared resource configuration. This figure shows a simplified view of shared resource configuration used to provide access to an underlying resource. Associated with each resource to be shared is an arbiter component. The arbiter enforces a policy that enables a client to lock the resource, use it and then release the resources. Thank you.